Hi guys, today let's talk about shin splints, what it is and how you've gotten into this position, what stretches we need to do to alleviate some of the pain, and what strength stuff we can do to get you into a better position and get you back running again. So let's talk about what shin splints actually are. The technical name is medial tibia tendinitis syndrome. So medial meaning inside, tibia is this bone here which runs from your knee to your foot. Tendinitis is the most important word. We'll get back to that in a second. Syndrome meaning syndrome. So tendinitis is the key to all the issues here. Tendinitis is inflammation of a tendon. What that basically refers to here is tendons attach muscles to bones. So the tendons on your shins that attach your calf muscles to the bone are getting irritated, are getting inflamed because they're being pulled on too much by these calf muscles as you're trying to run. So there are muscles that run here from the inside of your shin down underneath your foot and then atop the foot on the other side. Basically, when that foot is rolling too much, the muscles here through the calves are then having to pull too much on the bone, and then you're getting pain here on the inside of the bone. It might feel like it's a bone pain, but it's actually the tendons attaching to the bone. So as you can tell, part of the issue is that you are too tight through these calf muscles. They're being asked to do too much. So yes, there's a stretching element. We need to be more flexible, but also there's a strength element in that they're being asked to do too much because someone else isn't holding them in the correct position. So let's talk about some stretching stuff first to alleviate some of your pain, and then we'll get onto the strength stuff in a minute. Okay, so in terms of stretching, there are probably three main things we need to focus on: the upper calf, the lower calf, and the hips. So first let's talk about the upper calf. This is your standard calf stretch that you've probably seen a million times. Your hands on a box or a wall, leaning forward, trying to get all your weight forward. As you can see, I'm stretching my back leg here, just in the upper section just there. I'm trying to get as far weight forward as I can while I keep my heel on the ground. Next thing is to try and then take that foot further back behind you, wiggle it back, and just hang out as much as we can. So if you can get all that weight forward onto the box, onto a lounge, onto a chair, table, while I'm putting that weight back. And if and when that starts to feel a bit easier, I can take that foot back a little bit further. How long should you hold this stretch for? 3 to 5 minutes per affected leg. We want to hold these stretches for a long time, opening up not just the muscles, but the fascia as well, trying to get in there as deep as we can. In this time, just read a book, listen to a podcast, do something productive, or maybe just chill out and have a break. It's completely up to you. Your second stretch is the lower calf, which is a very similar sort of position, but in this case, we're putting our knee all the way forward and we're trying to stretch down through here. So my knee is going forward over the toe. I have my left leg here. That's just completely useless. Imagine I don't have that leg and I want to get all my weight forward through this knee, keeping the heel down. Again, when it starts to feel easier, you can take the foot a bit further back. You can try and get your butt a little bit further out behind you. And your main goal on this one is getting that knee forward over toe. You can even start to rotate your knee a little bit, change up the angle slightly. But again, 3 to 5 minutes, spending time down in this position, getting that knee forward, opening up some of that fascia as well as just the muscles. Stretching, stretching, stretching. Stretch number 3 is the 90-90 stretch that you can see I'm in now. So you can tell why this is called this. Both knees are at 90 degrees. And what I'm going to try and do, as I do this stretch, I'm going to lean back a little bit, and I feel this through the quad and also the top of the hip, the internal rotator. So I'm going to roll over like this. Now I feel this on the left side. And this one is just about mobility. So we just want to spend not too long in each position, just opening up that hip. 90-90. You can see I've got my hands behind my back. That's going to make this a little bit easier. That's level 1. Level 2 is with your hands off the ground. And now that's a bit more of a strength exercise as well as just a stretch. If you can perform the stretch no problems, then start working on the strength. Still going into 90 degrees each position. And that should start to open up that internal rotation of the hip, which is pulling your knee inwards, which is causing the ankles to roll in as well. Okay, as you can imagine, for strength stuff, main area of focus is going to be on the calves. That's going to be a real key. So the first thing we want to do is a deficit calf raise. So this is going to be both a stretch and a strengthen. That's what makes this exercise so good. So you'll want to use a step. I have a step just here, but if you don't have a step, you'll want to use maybe just a couple of books, something to elevate you off the ground a couple of inches. I'm probably up about 10 inches here, but you probably don't even need that high. Just a few inches will be fine. Start up on your box, on your step. You can use something to hang on to. It doesn't have to be a wall here. And then what we want to do is we want to come up nice and high. That's the strength component. And then slow, 2, 3, getting that depth, getting that heel all the way down. I'll just do it on the foot that's closer to you so you can see. So let's go up and hold, slow, 2, 3. And you can see I lock out that knee at the bottom. Tall, slow, 2, 3. Up, slow, 2, 3. Up, slow, 2, 3. Each time we're trying to get deeper with our stretch. We're trying to get higher on the work. Slow, 2, 3. Right up onto the ball of the foot, up nice and high, right up onto the toes. Slow, 2, 3. We want to do 15 to 20 reps on this. If you can perform 15 to 20 reps consecutively with no break and getting full deficit every time, then you can start doing it with dumbbells. Maybe just start with 1 to begin with, and then eventually working up into 2. But the same format, 3, 2, 1 on the down, up, 3, 2, 1 on the down, making sure you're getting that depth every single time. Our next area of concern for strength is our hips. So part of the issue with shin splints is the knees are being internally rotated, which is then causing the foot to internally rotate. So if we can get the knee into external rotation, if we can get the hip into external rotation, the knee will stay in external rotation, therefore the calf won't roll in. So let's go through some external rotation exercises using our friend the booty band here. So number 1 is just your standard crab walk. You want to place the band around your ankles like so, keeping them a bit wider than shoulder width. And that's just enough tension there that it wants to pull my knees in like so. But of course, I'm going to hold them here. So level 1 is just a basic hold like this for 30 to 60 seconds. If you can maintain this position here with your knees apart for 60 seconds, then it's time to go to level 2. If you can't do 30 seconds, then we can go to level 1, which is just placing the band around your knees and doing the same thing, which is actually a little bit easier. Okay, now assuming you can do that, let's go up to level 2, which is your crab walks. So feet pointing straight ahead, heels in the same direction as your toes, sorry. Little steps, little steps, little steps, little steps. Stepping back, stepping back, stepping back, stepping back. You can see I'm only taking little steps. What I'm not doing is taking big steps where my knee, as you can see, has rolled inwards like this. I want to keep that external rotation, fighting the band, little steps, little steps, little steps, little steps. The whole time I'm trying to break the band, heels apart. Think about leading with your heels. Don't think about stepping as wide as you can. Think about heels apart, not toes apart like this. Heels apart, heels apart, heels apart, heels apart, heels apart. Number 3, we will put the band around our knees and we're going to do clocks. So we're not going to quite do all the numbers of the clock, but we get down into a quarter squat and we're going to do 45 degrees forward, 45 degrees to the side, or 90 degrees to the side rather, 45 degrees backwards. And you can see in this position, my working knee, my left knee in this case, is staying perfectly still. If this knee gets pulled across, e.g. if it comes over and this band pulls that knee in, then the exercise is too hard, or maybe you're not trying hard enough. So keep that switched on, keep that glute engaged as you step away. If you really can't maintain stability in this knee, Either use an easier band or just don't step as far. Just do little steps. It's more about keeping the tension on, like so, than it is about stepping out really far but having that knee be pulled across. How far should you be doing on this? About 60 seconds worth. And as you can see, I just hold in that position, hold. I don't really mind how many reps you do. It's about time under tension. So I would rather they were slow, continuous reps, keeping the tension on, keeping that glute perfectly still, keeping that knee perfectly still. Our next exercise is called touch and drive. What we do here is, I'm using one leg to stay still. I'm going to go down into a quarter lunge there. I'm touching with my back foot and then I'm driving the knee up. Hold. Down, 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 down. Up, 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 up. Nice and slow. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. If you can't maintain that, and let me just do it front on here for a second, have a look at my working knee. If you can't maintain a perfectly straight knee, then let's take some of the weight away. Maybe place your hands on a box. So if I just use my box here, I've got the same exercise, placing one to the side, one hand to the side, down, touch, up, drive, down, touch, up, drive. Only if you can't maintain stability without the box. So moving up from there, our next thing is we've got our touch. We go a little bit deeper, just that quarter range here, no deeper than that. It's not about a full left lunge. This is about keeping tension on the glute and the VMO, the muscle here on the inside. From here, coming up, and we can just pick up the pace a little bit. As you can see, that knee just under a little bit more pressure. Same thing, touch and go. Touch and go. Touch and go. Remember, you're trying to run fast, so we need to practice being under duress a little bit quicker. If you can maintain that for 15 to 20 reps, then our next exercise is with a pop. So going down, pop, down, pop, down, pop, down, pop. Again, 15 to 20 reps, knee perfectly stable. And then the final is with a jump. So going down, jump, down, jump, down, jump. And as you can see, my knee's even starting to wobble now. That's a quite tough one. So only if you can do this perfectly, or only if you can do the previous ones perfectly. What am I doing with my arms here, by the way? I'm doing opposite arm to leg, mimicking what my arms would be doing in sprinting. So as one knee comes up, the opposite hand comes up, pause and go, pause and go. So we're trying to strengthen everything from that glute down to the inside of the knee. Okay, for our next exercise, we're going to be going through the Curtsy Lunge. So for the Curtsy Lunge, we're going to be pulling our hip into internal rotation and then using our deep rotators, our piriformis, our glutes, to pull us back into external rotation. So for our Curtsy Lunge, we take our back foot, take it back behind us and shift across to the side. Now, as you can see, my working knee has stayed perfectly still. My back foot is on the ball of the foot. This is level 1. So you can see the hip has shifted out to the side, the knee is still, and then I come back up into that drive we did earlier. Slow, 2, pause, 1, 2, hold. 1, 2, pause, 1, 2, hold. 15 to 20 reps, perfect. And you can go to level 2, which is the same exercise, except now that back foot is just on the instep. You can see I'm not using the ball of the foot anymore, I'm just on the instep. So from here, I can't get much out of that back leg. This front glute, this front leg is now working a lot harder. And hold. Down, curtsy, up, and hold. Down, curtsy, up, and hold. Our final level is just based on your depth and how far across you get that leg. So let's try and get our back knee close to the floor, if not on the floor, and hold. Down, deep, up, and hold. And even you can see I'm finding that tough now. Down, deep, up, hold. Down, deep, up, hold. The further you get the foot across, the more this glute has to work to pull you back into position. Again, only if you can do 15 to 20 reps of level 2 perfectly. Okay, so today we've covered the basics of shin splints, primarily that tighten the internals, weaken the external rotators of the hip, are causing the knee to roll inwards, which is therefore causing the ankle to roll inwards. Tight calves means that extra pressure is going on the tendons here attaching into your shins, causing that shin tendonitis, that shin pain. So our main things we need to do, stretch through the calves, strengthen through the calves as well, strengthen through the glutes and the external rotators, and try and pull you into a better position. Some other things you might want to have a look at are shoes. Often people who are wearing big comfy supportive shoes, as that comfort and support starts to wear out, their shoes are unable to hold them in the position that they promised to on the box. So you'll start to fall into that internal rotation again, or pronation as it's often referred to with the feet. So potentially have a look at your shoes. Potentially have a look at some orthotics if you're not really doing that much running and you're getting shin splints. But orthotics aren't really going to help you too much if you're a runner, because most of the time you're going to be up on the balls of your feet anyway. So that leads back to what I was saying before. Most of your issues can be solved with stretching and strengthening. So try and get onto that as quick as you possibly can. If you are experiencing acute pain, the best thing for you to do immediately is the RICE principle. Rest, ice, compression, elevation. So after a run, if your shins are really sore, if those tendons are really irritating you, rest firstly. Take a little bit of time off, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, until that pain has gone away. Ice immediately after a run, immediately after a workout. Apply an ice pack. Use some Glad wrap and tape it to your legs so you can go about your business. Compression, as I mentioned, tie it to your legs, keep it tight there, and that ice will do its job better. And elevation, keep that foot elevated and allow some of the blood and the inflammation to flow out of there. But as we've said, stretch the tight things, strengthen the weak things, and shin splints is something that you can definitely get on top of within a few weeks. Good luck, guys.